is really potent, but we have seen the Yuumi left open, which has been pretty consistently been banned.
Yeah, which feels like now you need to take the Zeri away from that, because having a Zeri and a Yuumi go through together is going to be incredibly strong, and LNG are going back towards that flex with Tarzan potentially taking some Sejuani, but this is quick off the mark. Holy moly.
I love it. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Nocturne ban. I'm sad we don't get Nocturne for Doinb in game 1, but we also get the tried and true for V5.
Yeah, and I feel like picking up the Sylas is huge because you deny away from LNG, one of those melee mid laners that combos really well with the Sejuani. You also have the Sejuani ult to steal, so that's fantastic, but we see the scaling bot lane trade-off coming through, and now going to the second rotation. More bans likely go towards Doinb, I feel, just because it's easier to pinch that pool than it is for Arla, but LNG have options since they'll be the first one coming out on that 4th pick and also can have counter picks.
I wouldn't be surprised to see V5 go for a Renekton ban because you're worried about, hey, look, you've already got the Sejuani here. Renekton in the mid lane is going to be a big one. Also just taken away from Allah as well if he wants to try and go towards that. Even with the Aatrox ban and that coming through here for LNG as well, it feels like you're trying to set up for that. So, and it's not exactly the best of times for the Sylas in the mid lane.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised when I see this for LNG throw a jungle ban here. Like Trundle, Wukong is still available. Trundle, obviously, you have the Sejuani to steal stats from. They are going to take that one away. I mean, Wukong's still there, which obviously a really potent jungler, so I feel like Karsa's not struggling too much, but I think Trundle would have been definitely a pain in the side. And we do see Jax being banned away, so I think kind of showing some of the concern that we brought up about Rick into Allah.
Yeah, it feels like basically, hey, let's remove everything that's good into Gnar, right? With Camille gone, Jax gone, even the Aatrox gone as well. It feels like at least they're trying to get something that's easy for Rich to operate up in that top side. But this is Allah, right? Like, he is such a strong carry pool in that top lane.
Yeah, but I feel like Renekton makes so much sense. You're talking about it as a ban, but this is still a flex, so it can go top or mid, depending on what they want to do with that arrangement. The Wukong for Karsa, no surprise. But here's the question. What do they bring out for Rich? He is going to be blind in this situation. Gnar is something that we've seen generally is a very good blind this split, but the base health nerfs have made him a bit more volatile, but they're still going to go for it.
Yeah, I think when you see like Aatrox, Jax, Camille, Fiora all banned away, at least you think you're relatively okay, but will be responding with the Kennen, which does have the range advantage and can do very well. And I think Allah has been great on this pick as well, finding good flank opportunities in team fights and helping to just set up for what is again an insane top side of the map for LNG that wants to skirmish.
Yeah, for me, it's always the flanks that Allah somehow finds. They're insane. His team fight potential is up there.
I will say the big thing is, though, because they thinned out that top lane pool, and because Arla still want to have a good matchup in the Gnar, he ends up without going for a melee top laner. One of the biggest strengths with that Sejuani jungle that LNG have banked on is having champions that can quickly stack up the passive. They still have that in the mid lane, but everywhere else on the map, you don't get that advantage.
And I think it was one of the things that we saw LNG use to great effect against V5 in their last playoff series, and especially when Karsa came in game 4 and 5, Karsa was struggling in these early stages of the game, so I think when you're not able to play as heavily through that top side of the map, it might give a bit of a breath of fresh air for Karsa and get him into a better situation where he can try and play through the mid game, where that shot calling does shine for V5.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing for Karsa and Tarzan, right? Like finding those shot calling, finding where that pathing is going to go early, because it's going to dictate a lot from those solo lanes as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the big thing for me is that mid lane matchup, because we've seen Doinb pick this Renekton again and again. We've seen times where it hasn't worked. We've seen times where it struggled. I believe it was against Scout when it was up against EDG. He had this matchup and it actually flopped completely, and it really just cost him a lot of pressure. But we've also seen times where I remember up against RA in the regular season where he got the 100-0 solo kill. So I think the mid jungle is going to be super impactful. If LNG can play the Sejuani Renekton well, they can really lean that pressure to the side lane.
Yeah, especially for Rookie here. Like, this is not a fun matchup at all. Like, you are going to get bullied quite significantly here, so especially if you end up with like slice and dice into a stun, you're such short range here for Rookie, it can easily set up for a Sejuani play.
And we're getting into it now. It is an elimination best of 5 in the LPL 2022 summer split. It is regional qualifiers here. It's V5 versus LNG. Rookie versus Doinb. Karsa versus Tarzan, and all the hype that comes with it. One of these teams will not be going to Worlds. The other has a date with Destiny with RNG as we hit Summoner's Rift.
Well, might see some action level 1, actually. Rookie being on the Sylas is a bit of a threat with that chain lash, so LNG do opt to back away from the play, but both teams just testing limits on the spot side of the map.
So far, so easy. No crazy level ones. I love the little super carry Doinb tag that we had pop up there as well. Just giving them a little bit of extra love. But in all actuality, so much pressure for all these teams, right? Disappointment is not something either of these organizations, let alone players, want to have under their belt.
Especially after the disappointment for V5 coming in from spring, right? Everyone had them touted as the top team in the LPL. Comes to spring, they were supposed to be our MSI like attendee, and they completely flop. Then you come into the summer, and we're kind of going, hell yeah, V5, they're back on track. This is looking great. Dream is great. Rookie comes in, gets 50% of the available MVPs. We're like, Rookie's a beast. Let's go V5. And then we hit the slump again. So I think for V5, definitely wanting to see this team succeed and see if they can finally make it to that world stage.
And I know you had talked a little bit beforehand about, if V5 do manage to make it to Worlds, it's literally Karsa and Rookie, the only ones that have been there before. They're going to have to kind of pull up the veterancy there.
Yeah, look, I just want to see the Church of Chovy versus the Church of ppgod. I'm a simple man, all right? I just want to see these two. But look, I think for V5, it's a long out road, whereas for LNG, it's certainly going to be looking to a step back, but in the bot side.
We're getting a little crazy. Photic going on to Light. We'll see whose particles are better, and this time it is Light who comes out on top. ppgod, you got to run away to your church.
Yeah, and I mean, just a really bold play to go so aggressive when you're playing the Sivir Yuumi, right? Lulu has been the pick that does tend to have more she can do on the level 1, can offer more. We often see the Zeri Lulu with that pressure, so we see V5 try and step up, try and challenge, and it costs them so heavily.
Yeah, and I think the big one as well is just like, you think, hey, look, we got the Yuumi, maybe we can add a little bit more, because...
Fight is good to go, and we got gameplay, folks.
We actually did it. We
made it through. Okay. I was about to go down the Lord of the Rings rabbit hole. I'm
actually rereading the book. I'm reading the Fellowship of the Ring first time. It's great.
All right. Well,
it does help that... oh, hang on. Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan get a little spicy here. Karsa in some trouble. Getting a nice warm welcome to the game.
Yeah, and here's the big thing we're talking about is the expectation was we'd have priority for LNG's lanes. We knew Tarzan wanted to play around his solo lane, so he pushes in, plays aggressive, and sure, he doesn't get rewarded massively, but this is what we expect to see from him.
I'm not going to lie. I forgot we talked about that. It's been a hot minute, but yeah, I do agree. I think when you've got so much pushing power in each of these lanes, the ability to try and go for these more aggressive trades, especially if you've got Doinb who can try and link up with you, is going to be fantastic. And especially when you look at Wukong, traditionally very strong in those early skirmishes, if you can try and set him behind at this early point, it's going to work wonders for you.
I just feel like it's crazy the amount of damage Sejuani does. Like, we've talked about it a lot in the top lane, but when you proc the stun and get that permafrost, it's actually disgusting how impactful it can be in those trades.
Yeah, and I think obviously we had already talked about the big brain of Tarzan getting around the map very nicely, but also got to shout out Doinb on the Renekton. He has been oppressive on this pick, and speaking of, he is oppressing Rookie here. Rookie's in some trouble. He's trying to call on Karsa. He's trying to call on somebody. He's going to have to flash, and that will be a big summoner spell burn. Now we're looking at bottom lane, where you have another fight. Last time, Light maybe didn't want to have this one. Lumao this time might be the focus for Photic. Won't get him in the end. There is still the flash available as well.
Yeah, and I think the big thing from there was, seeing a bit of action in the top lane.
Oh, that's ready from Rich. One more auto, and Allah! He'll pick up the kill.
Man, absolutely massive from Ola. I mean, we expect the Kennen to have the advantage, but a solo kill at this point in the game is pretty unprecedented.
I am loving this early game, though. Kills on the bot side, kills on the top side. LNG have come to play. They nearly killed Rookie in the mid as well. This is what we're talking about. The early game from LNG made such a difference in their last series.
Yeah, and I think here, just Rich completely disrespecting the Kennen, because once you get the E onto the Gnar, you've already got a stack of the passive, gets the stun in, that empowered auto coming in clutch to finish it off. And we are now at the point where, okay, Rookie's back in lane, ignite down from Doinb means less threat, but it shows you have to respect the Renekton. Bear in mind, Tarzan didn't even reach Rookie. If Tarzan was coming from the other side and was able to get in range, Rookie was just flat out dead.
Yeah, he was indeed. We'll see the roam towards mid, though. They're really putting the pressure onto Rookie, and I think very much so needed for LNG, and especially the way that they want to approach this game, right? Early lead is all good. We have seen them stumble when it gets to the mid to late game, so it's about getting as much of a lead as possible.
And I mean, they're doing a great job at the moment, right? Like, you burn flash in mid, very easy now for Tarzan. As you can see, like, him already hovering around mid to see if he can try and get that charge onto Doinb. Yuumi here as well. And Karsa can't really help this out. Like, he would much rather have 6 before he tried to help out in mid lane whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel like if he comes mid, he'll probably just help out LNG by giving a double kill. Oh, Ola has ult!
He's going to be in a lot of trouble. He goes right into Mini Gnar. You might wish you were Illidan this time around, Rich, as he goes down yet again to Ola.
Oh, it's a disaster in the top lane. We highlighted that it felt like there was a bit of a top gap, but it's turning into a canyon at this stage. They are decimating Rich in that top side, and he hasn't even had help yet. Even the Dark Seal as well for this Kennen.
I mean, the fact that it's solo kills twice on a pick where typically we expect to see the Gnar able to stabilize most lanes, able to survive them, able to lead into the late stages. But here, this is kind of paying off from that earlier solo kill because Ola has the XP advantage. Level 6 hits, but Rich, you're using all your abilities before Ola's even got in, and then the mega times out, the health is lost, and look how low he is before Ola even uses the ultimate.
Yeah, he didn't even need, it had the flash at the end just to ensure that last auto attack, but it's just top play from Ola already, and we said how integral this Kennen pick for him is, but not only for the team fights of LNG.
And if you're Tarzan, you're like, Ola, my man. Now I just get to grow top side. I don't even care about this. All right, you got your thing going. I'm going to play around mid. I'm going to play around bot. You know what? We get towards Rift Tower that's just about in a minute's time. Well, you've got 2 kills, the Dark Seal. You've already got Sork boots. I mean, you're going to be able to decimate any sort of fight we go towards.
Yeah, and I feel like LNG have kind of skipped a step because we're like, look, strong mid jungle, get the advantage there, spread of the side lanes, and then Ola, Light, and Luma are like, no, we're just going to get kills in lane by ourselves. And I feel like, you know, the expectation was so much pressure would be on Tarzan and Doinb because if they didn't get ahead, the side lanes may not be able to flourish on their own. But I mean, this is beyond flourishing at this point, and you start to be concerned for V5 because top is bleeding. You have the scaling bot side. Light's just hit level 6, so he's going to be a problem, and you know things are going to be tough from here on out.
Yeah, it's turned from flourishing into farming at this stage. Like, Ola is just absolutely destroyed. And now again, like, still you're looking at, like, Flash still down for Doinb mid, so Tarzan always the potential to try and make a play there. But, I mean, you're already seeing pushing bot, resets are going to come through, but also the pushing mid. You move over towards Rift Herald, and even Ola again, look at where the wave is on top side. He's got that nicely frozen for himself. He creates this slow push. How do you even try and contest this objective as V5 on top side? It feels like you got to try and trade it for something like Dragon on the bot end.
And speaking of, right, it is about looking for V5 where their next steps are. We said their biggest strengths are mid to late game, finding those decisions, finding the macro, and especially around these objectives. But being this far down early, having that much pressure on the top side, it's a question of what you do as Karsa to get back into it.
I mean, I feel like you know now that Tarzan's going for the Herald, you can't contest. There's no way you can fight on this top side of the map. Even if we hadn't seen Oleg get 2 solo kills against Rich, the Renekton Sejuani is so intimidating. I would just lean bot, but it looks like they're heading over.
They're actually going to.
There's no way.
There's no way they could do it. It is just going to be the Rift Herald picked up by Tarzan there.
Yeah, they're securing another objective, which is the blue buff. So
there you go. There you go.
Leaning towards that one, but now this sets it up so well for LNG because Dragon is on the table. They can start to lean towards. They can set up to start stacking those. We often see teams create. Oh, Engage comes in.
That's a little bit of a final chapter there, maybe for Lumao. He does get the shield in the last second. Look at Light putting in the damage. Oh! Photic ends up picking it up. It is a trade back, so V5 get on the board, but they do lose their AD carry in the end.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Light's going to get to push this in, so a win for LNG when it gets towards even the pressure that they can put on that bot lane turret.
Yeah, there's a plate to take as well that was pretty low, so big win for the side of LNG, but Photic doing a good final skill shot to make sure it's a trade and not just LNG pulling further ahead. Now, Karsa looking for something mid, but I'm not sure you want this.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit of a spicy predicament here for Karsa, but he's walking
Rich
right back. He's got Rookie coming down. Ola is on his way as well, but Rich is here first. You see, maybe even Karsa goes down first. Doinb will be quickly to follow, or will he? Does get one auto attack from Rich in the end, but Rich about to have Mega Gnar. Lumao wants to take him out. Rookie survived in the end.
Just about V5 are able to get one back, but that was looking like dire straits there. Rookie flashing over the wall on literally no HP, but it will be Karsa traded for Doinb, so at least getting something back, but you can see how much V5 are struggling when it comes to these topside skirmishes.
Yeah, I honestly feel like V5 kind of outplayed that one pretty hard, and even with that, they still left limping, and it was a 1-for-1. We're already going to replay off the bot side play first, and Lumao just a bit disrespectful. ppgod jumping out to get the mana to pop that ultimate, but then don't quite have the damage to finish it off with this final skill shot. Lumao just kind of not picking a direction, walking back on it and getting caught, but obviously Light is there to finish off, and now Rich.
What? Okay! There you go, Rich. You show up, you get your own solo bolo.
Just got a shutdown as well. Dark Steel Stack's gone. And I mean, I'm going to be real. If I got solo killed by someone twice in game 1 at best of 5 and tilted, Rich just seems unfazed.
Yeah, apparently Ala's the one that's slightly tilted, because I don't know how you go down like that so early as Rich and then bring it back. But now Karsa over on bot side, he has no ult.
Tarzan will try to follow him up. Ooh, we're getting a little 1v1 in the mid lane as Rookie has that dominance available. We'll see Photic and Karsa trying to get back in. The final chapter comes out. Lumao using that wild growth. He'll still go down anyways. And Karsa, he's making his name known.
V5 are doing a good job now of starting to find these picks, like punishing the fact that Lumao had no ult on bot side. Rookie willing to give up some of the CS in mid to make sure that he could zone Doinb off the play. So, I mean, overall, V5, they're trying to bring this back pretty hard now.
Yeah, doing a good job of it. I want to see a replay of how this happened. I think all are just disrespectful. And look how the ult and the wallop afterwards from Rich clears the wave, which means Ola takes a tower hit. And then the follow-up and the ult from Ola just way too late.
Yeah, just grading for that place. Ala really wanted to get that, but LNG now going to turn their attention down towards this bottom side. 2 kills on the Zeri still. Light looking pretty damn clean at the moment, but you have the Kraken Slayer for Photic, but V5 going to be a little bit late to try and contest this.
And we're seeing the objective control already come out from LNG. Obviously something super important for them in the early game, but they already got the Rift Herald. That'll be available. They got the first dragon here. And do we see Tarzan just try to kind of prop up this bottom lane a little bit more?
I look at the time on the Herald. It's about to go. You have to throw a bot, but the problem is V5 are here.
He's got the Cyclone coming in from Karsa. We'll see them try to back off after that. Rookie is on his way down. Tarzan and LNG, though, they collapse, and Karsa goes down first.
Yeah, they need to drop this Herald now, though. It's so close to being out, so they're going to leave combat. But the fact they got that kill, they could maybe, I think they'll at least get this down to 1 plate left with this Herald charge. I'm not sure they can push it in just because Photic is so confident clearing the waves, but still, big positive for the side of LNG. Yeah,
a lot of gold towards the bottom lane, a lot of gold for Light, Lumao, and Tarzan, but I think you still got to think about the at least clearing speed and from Photic getting a little bit further on, and especially the way that the composition plays with the Sivir.
Yeah, I think the Photic will be strong. I'm just terrified about how strong Light will be. Like, immediately.
It is a Zeri.
He's just finished his Immortal Shield Bulb. He's picked up 3 kills. Now he's got the plates on the bot side as well. And he is such an incredibly strong front line to keep him safe here as well. And, like, realistically, apart from, like, Karsa, there's not many people who can get back. Like.
Oh, Rookie just has no chance. The burn is there. And Doinb, that CC lockdown is terrifying.
Yeah, we've finally seen the combo. It feels like we haven't been able to see them pull it off for this game, where it's just like Renekton goes on you, stuns you, the follow-up from the Sejuani. And it shows how devastating it is. Rookie's done a good job to mitigate it till here, but he finally gets punished. They'll pick up an extra plate, and LNG, despite V5's little comeback, are 3,000 gold up.
Yeah, for me, it's also just that combination of Tarzan and Doinb. When this team came together, when this duo came together, I had such high expectations. The fact that we still see that synergy working out so well between these two guys is so incredible for LNG, especially in moments like this of high pressure.
And you can see, I mean, look, at least now Rookie might have a little bit of an easier time trying to defend against the Crown of the Shattered Queen now completed for him. But, I mean, the damage is already starting to be done by LNG, right? You've got nearly the bot side tower down. You've gotten first dragon. Next Rift Herald is in 35 seconds. You have the Blade of the Rune King plus more for Doinb. Tarzan still has his ultimate. It feels like they have control still on this top side to look for that next Rift Herald and then crack open more of these turrets.
Yeah, I feel like LNG's mid game is really powerful. You know, Renekton, Sejuani will still be super potent and too bulky. I think that's the thing, is like with the Sivir, it's going to take a long time before you're really able to cut through this front line off LNG, especially with things like the Lulu backing them up, giving them that extra durability. So LNG in a prime position and can really lean off these one-item spikes that have started to come in.
I love that you bring up the one-item spikes. I was just about to talk about that, because as we get to that strength and potential, at least a little bit of burgeoning strength for V5, it's still a question of how do they gain back control of this going into the mid game.
Well, at the moment, they're just trying to abandon bot lane turret. They're like, look, we need to move people for this. We're going to start up Rift Herald. Maybe we can then use that to crack open topside, get something back for ourselves. But I don't think they can burst this down before the rest arrive.
Yeah, and if they lose the bot lane tower and then lose the Herald fight and the second Herald,
tragedy.
It feels like game might just be over there. They are postured here, but LNG are trying to contest this and are moving light up. Stand at 2,000, so they have to act quickly. But I think they might just go for the mid-tier 1 instead, as they have have zoned them away.
Yeah, they brought Light here to the mid lane. They were just posturing for potentially the transfer back to mid lane by V5. Rich able to bend and break here, maybe, and we get the Glacial Prison there from Rookie, but not going to go wide. Or actually goes wide, and so does Tarzan.
Yeah, Rookie tried to predict the dash, did a good job of doing so, forced the flash out of Light, but I was kind of surprised V5 were able to bully their way into that mid lane. I wasn't sure if LNG were just going to turn on them immediately, but now it goes back to, okay, V5 at least did get that Rift Herald. They held onto the mid lane tower. This is something they can now use to try and get some tempo back on the map.
Yeah, can try and use that to apply some pressure. If they can get the mid tier 1, obviously pretty Karsa might... No, you can get away with the ultimate. Yeah. But yeah, where they use the Herald, obviously I think mid is usually the no-brainer if they can get that tier 1. But a big factor is just slowing down LNG. It's like, not only the fact you're getting the Herald, but also the denial allows them to buy some time. But now a minute away from the Mountain Dragon. A lot of bulky champions in this game who really get a ton of value off that. I'm not sure V5 are necessarily in a position to fight this, and we do see LNG going for the resets. They want to be here in time. They want to get the second dragon, and I think V5, the play might just be to cross-map or maybe go for the tier 1 mid instead with the Herald.
And I just want to see how, obviously, the transition for bottom lanes to mid lane, and especially the 2-item spike for Light now on the Zeri, waiting for that third, is going to play into this objective, because with that early tower take from LNG, I feel like it brings so much pressure to that mid lane now, especially for V5.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for LNG is just how easy they're going to be able to move around the map, right? Like Doinb and Ala already getting control over the side lane against Rich. You got Doinb as well, who's going to be in a good spot.
Oh my God, talk about pressure in the mid lane. It's all the pressure onto Photic. That's a nice triple final chapter, but there's not enough pages in that book.
And that was so well played because the cleanse was burned by Photic, by Tarzan in that last little encounter we had around mid. And then, you know, he spell shields Light's Zap, doesn't think it's a big deal. And it just ends up costing so much not having that available.
Light tried to get out. He's trying to get the turret, and that's another turret early on, and here comes Tarzan. They're going onto Rich. Rich gets stunned down. Ala on the side as the flank, but now Karsa, Rookie, they're trying to get their own flank. It's the flank of the flank. We'll see if they can actually get it. That crown already going to be popped there from Rookie, so I'm sure they'll back off.
You know, flash on Light, which is what Rookie and Karsa were trying to punish, but won't be given the opportunity as they were faster to the mid lane than Doinb. They tried to get the numbers advantage, but now that LNG are grouped up and Dragon has spawned, it'll be second Dragon going over towards LNG.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, a V5 made the decision. I said they should. They went for the cross map with the Herald. That's the right call. Then they still end up getting caught out, picked apart, and overstaying around mid. It feels like, you know, you knew what the right decision was, but you held on a bit too long in the mid lane, and it ends up costing you absolutely massively. And now LNG have picked up that Dragon. It's going to be an Infernal Soul, and with 2 stacked up already, they're in such a good position.
Yeah, almost 4,000 golden lead, objective control aplenty, only 1 Rift Herald going to V5, and it just feels like the map is LNG's oyster at this point. It isn't exactly a lead that you can just slam home at 20 minutes, but it's something that for LNG is so important in terms of control.
Oh, we see it there as well. Tarzan just managed to sneak past the ward that was in the pixel brush, which is why Photic caught off guard by this, wasn't able to get the spell shield in time, and ends up falling down. So nice job by Tarzan. And I mean, again, Tarzan's been so good in this early stages of finding those moments to play around his lanes, making sure that you can get Rookie mid, getting those kills on bot side. And I mean, right now, making sure that this is a 4K gold lead that's very nice for LNG.
And I just see the fact it's a 4-0 Zeri. I mean, there's lots of good things for LNG in this game. 2 dragons, the team gold lead, the fact that you got like 2-1 on your soul lanes. But that just feels minor compared to the fact that you have a 4-0 Zeri. Oh, it's so scary.
And I think the biggest importance is how do you attack that? How do you find an avenue? Because they don't have any of those direct lockdowns.
And that's what we were kind of talking about early, but Doinb...
Oh, they're talking about direct lockdown. They're trying to find Doinb. They're even TPing to the top. Here comes Tarzan to help him out. Doinb with the wild, gets the wild growth on top of him. He survives, and now it's a front-to-back fight with that 4-0 Light on the backside. Rookie's going to have to be very, very careful going into the alcove here as well, but it looks like things are stepping up a little bit. You've got Photic coming into the fight now. It's front to back, but that ricochet could be so important. Ala goes in with the slicing maelstrom. They get 1, but immediately it could be turned back. No, it's not. The burn's not enough onto Ala, and LNG are coming up aces right now.
It's the life fight, baby. He comes in at the end of that and starts to clean it up. Ala escapes with 0 HP. Doinb escapes with 0 HP, and V5 just wipe the grin off their faces because that was so well done by LNG.
Such good coordination. I feel like the decision-making in this fight was so good. can't wait for the replay, because honestly, it feels like the thing they respected most of all was the Mega Gnar. Rich was ready, you saw them all then against that wall, and they were so patient, allowing them to get that re-engage, allowing them to find favor once Light arrived, and this Zeri is just going to be so powerful now. We can see it coming in here, so like, initially, Doinb gets focused, but he survived for so long.
Yeah, Doinb manages to stay alive for so long, just barely getting in there with the wall growth. Lumel keeps him alive, stops Karsa from getting in, and then as you say, right, they're waiting for Rich here, not really giving him an opportunity to get in, and Rookie is kind of forced to overextend here, because as Rich goes in on the backside, look at the rest of LNG. Rookie ends up in a completely different fight to them. Allah zones away V5, and it means they can deal with Rookie in the backline as V5 are retreating, and then Light's easily able to follow up here.
It just felt like as soon as the Mega Gnar timed out, that was the signal for everyone to push forward. And this is the power of Zeri with the Lulu speeding you up, is that you don't get to lose a team fight and run away. You will get chased down, you will lose more members, and now that goal lead is expanded more on Karsa, I mean, you are really struggling to have any impact in this game.
It's really difficult when we've seen Wukong be at such high highs, but I got to give special shout-outs to the Lulus of the LPL, man. Over the last couple days, there have been so many incredible last-second wild growths. This time, Lumel not using the flash to get in there. He didn't need to, but I think it's so crucial to keep an eye out on that pick, especially when it's looking at such a powerful lane partner in Zeri at 5-0.
And the biggest problem now is that you've got this massive Renekton on one side of the lane that can actually go toe-to-toe against Rich. You got Allah who can go fairly handily against Rookie as well in a side lane. So it becomes very hard now for V5 to try and match a lot of the pressure that LNG have on the map. And all that LNG are doing are trying to clear waves until this next Draken spawns in a minute's time and make sure that they're the ones with control of the area. V5 try to beat them to the punch here as Karsa has already snuck his way in behind enemy line.
He has. He's got a lot of vision around him. They're going to bring Rookie over the wall as well. Now they got to be very, very careful. The blast cone will get them out scot-free.
And I feel like they have to approach it from angles like this, because I think in a 5v5 it's so hard, because the logical thing is, okay, in a 5v5 we try and kill the Zeri. But undoubtedly, if you're going for that with all the melee champions on your team, you're going to be clumped up, and that's just prime opportunity for Doinb and Arla to take over. It's really hard to see a window into fights at the moment, so they're trying to find these little picks, these windows, these opportunities.
Yeah, I feel like that fight relies on Rookie. No exhaust on LNG's side. If he can steal away Allah's ult, get in onto the backline, maybe he can delete Light and make sure that LNG can't have that big clean fight they want, but it's so difficult for Rookie to make that play happen when you're being pushed in onto your own side of the map. You're not getting this opportunity for flanks. There is one pink ward at the back of that Infernal Dragon that could be Rookie's key into this fight.
Could you imagine an Infernal Dragon given over to LNG, especially that soul would be so crucial, but soul point for them, so crucial because they can make decisions easier around the map, but it looks like LNG will go ahead and pick that one up. V5 trying to make something happen in mid lane. Light able to get out of that one. They don't even get a lot of damage on the turret either.
Dragon's gone. They don't get there in time, so LNG now will get to escape away. You've got the mobility to get over the wall, and Rookie...
He's playing a little aggressive there. He's like, team, we going in. He goes golden, and he's going to be a little bit of trouble here. He has the Glacial Prison, though. Tarzan is trying to get away there, and there you go. Karsa gets engaged on, using the clone to get out of there. The slow will hit LNG. Allah is looking for the big slicing maelstrom on the grouped up members. Tarsa has to flash off the pit. Tarsa, he goes back in. Final chapter is not enough to save him, and LNG are just picking apart this fight. Light is gunning them down. The Ultra Shock Laser plus the slicing maelstrom, all the electricity you could ever ask for.
And Karsa tries to make the play at the end. He feels like he's going to get taken down, tries for the turnaround, but the damage just isn't there. 7-0 now for Light on this Zeri. He is unstoppable.
And LNG are unstoppable. Baron on the cards as well as they turn over towards that objective. Yes, Photic, maybe you get a bit of gold off the bounty that's on this tower, but with this 3 dragons, the Baron, the push is going to come through, and this gold lead, it is going to explode in favor of LNG.
All right, so when is LNG opening their power station here? Because they are absolutely channeling the lightning, and we'll have to look at that fight one more time.
Yeah, I mean, here, Rookie ends up overextending, trying to find an angle, and the team knows they want to move in, try and defend him, but Rich, his Mega Gnar times out here, and LNG just being patient until they can reposition, until they can find an angle into this, and then they start pushing forwards. Karsa is able to get over the wall with a flash, but Light, so confident, just flies over, knowing he has the backup of the Lulu.
Again, though, we're seeing that, like, V5 don't feel like they're on the same page. We look at the fight that we had in topside. Rookie goes forward, everyone else in V5 goes to the right. This fight again, Rookie's going to the right, nobody else is with them. It feels like the communication isn't there for V5 on these engages where Rookie's looking for one thing and the rest of the team is staring in a completely opposite direction.
And I feel like now the state of the game is we have Baron for 2 minutes, which LNG are going to use to push in the waves, get control, take more structures, and then in 3 minutes we have that Infernal Dragon. Zeri is nearly at 4 items. It's a 7k gold lead. This is LNG's game. I feel like it's so difficult for V5 to find a way in, but if you make one mistake from here, if you lose one fight, it's over.
All right, Light is in some trouble here. Himself tries to flash. You see wild growth from Luma, but it's not going to do too much this time around. So big shutdown going over.
You're supposed to wait till after the fight to leak the script? You don't put it forward before.
My bad. Well,
rookie mistake.
Good news, they kill Light, they get his flash, they get 1,000 gold. Bad news, Tarzan got that 1,000 gold. You'd have loved to have that on Photic there, but beggars can't be choosers in this position.
And I think it's interesting to point out, I mean, obviously the combination coming together there, but that is something in the last series for V5 that was questionable in the fact that that communication, that structure, it was seemingly not there as well. And I think that's something that is so integral to see coming together in little bits and pieces.
And one of the things that was also a big telling point for LNG was making picks like this optional for V5. Ala game 4 was the one that started to break the Camo's back in the topside jungle. Now we're seeing Light getting caught out as well. This is where we start to see that decision making in the mid game that you highlighted, Mazel, earlier come back to fruition.
Yep, and it's something that LNG need to get under wraps. At this point, we're 26.5 minutes in. They do have that big lead, but we've seen them in positions like this before. It is all about coming together in the end. Get a nice little Baron push here. You got 40 seconds left on that one. But the Baron play, not that big in terms of V5 getting that huge shutdown in the end.
Yeah, it didn't actually pull them too far ahead in terms of gold, but the big thing I'm thinking of now is control for this Dragon. If LNG get this, it becomes extremely hard. We do see, though, V5 able to get a bit of a ward that's a little bit deep. They do want to go for a sort of a TP flank angle. I know I said that it's still hard if they kill Zeri because there's so many AoE tools from LNG, but the game, you're not winning a fight if Light is still alive, so they need to kill Light. He is the main focal point for V5 to try and find a way into this fight, and they absolutely can't give up this Dragon because I think with Infernal Soul, LNG just win.
Yeah, I think that's why they're just trying to see, hey, look, can Rookie create some pressure on this top side before he goes for that TP into the ward in mid lane that you highlighted. It feels like this is going to be so tense, though, because LNG, full control of the area. Wards starting to be littered behind them and front to the side. How do you try and get that flank opportunity without being spotted here as Rookie?
And I think that it's obviously so crucial for V5 to deny the Infernal Soul from LNG, the damage that will come out from Light, the damage that will come out from the entire comp. But as well as going into this one, you do have your 3-item spike for Photic, and that Lord Doms is going to be so big going into these beefy bodies.
So what I do want to note is ppgod doesn't have exhaust available. Ala is now level 16. The slicing maelstrom is doing a ton of damage. So if he gets a big ult off, that is another problem that V5 has to deal with. And yeah, he's looking for a bit of a flank angle here.
I don't know if he was spotted out there. Tarzan goes for the... Oh, Ala is waiting over his side. Photic, you're about to fall for the trap, and the lightning is sprung. It's huge from LNG, and they are just picking apart V5 yet again. 1 by 1. Rookie will go down to Light. Another kill. The cat does not survive, and Karsa might be able to get something back here, or does he?
Lightning strikes twice for LNG. The Zeri on one side, the Kennen on the other. They're decimated in the fight. And again, we're seeing LNG are saying playoffs, it's playoffs take 2.
And it was such a good flank from Ala there. I mean, just the heads-up play, finds his angle in, and then he just waits over the wall. We see Photic walk over this ward here, and the ult, he pre-channels it, so when he flashes in, just absolutely just annihilates him. Like, there's nothing you can do there. Exhaust probably wouldn't have saved you either, but yeah, just deleted from the map.
ppgod's just like, where did my AD carry go? I'm not attached to anybody anymore. I gotta walk around on my own.
Just tapping his heels. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Take me away from here, Toto. But unfortunately, there is nowhere left that's safe here for V5. Nearly a 10,000 gold lead coming across in favor of LNG. Look at the damage in that last fight. I mean, you said it, lightning on both sides. It's just hitting from every angle.
And I feel like I was kind of talking up like, okay, you know, you have to kill the Zeri, that's the win con, you know, it's really important. It looks like LNG tried killing the enemy AD carry, and the fact that Photic just did 0 damage is expected with what we saw, but it's so sad. Like, you're farming all this game, you're doing your best, you're on a Sivir, you're like, okay, it's go time, dragon fight, my time to shine, and then you blink and you're gone.
Yeah, it's a really rough predicament for V5 now with that Infernal Soul being given over to LNG, the pressure, the gold, everything going against them in this first game.
But I think this is a good example in this game of why we weren't riding high on V5 coming into this series, right? Why so many of the team were not willing to vote for V5 despite them being the higher seed. V5 have shown so many struggles. Rich dying twice to Ala in the early stages, given this Kennen such a massive lead. Karsa and Rookie not finding the same success as Tarzan and Doinb, and now LNG have full control over this game. They're playing into the face of the V5, saying, what are you going to do about it? We know Baron's up, and we're just going to take that vision in front of you.
And looking back at the composition, it's just so hard to lock down Light, the Zeri at all, right? We saw so many bans in the draft, the Vi, the Camille, everything, the things that we wanted to get locked down, but it doesn't come to fruition. Now V5, they try to get in front of the Baron, but the Baron's already gone, guys.
Yeah, now, LNG looking to try and find the fight.
Ala with an incredible flank yet again with PP. Karsa gets almost half his health taken out. We'll see if the AoE is going to be enough. Rich doesn't have Gnar, not even close to it, but V5 make it out alive, hopefully at least, as LNG pushing down the mid lane.
Yeah, saving grace is that the wave wasn't there, but LNG now trying to see if they can conga line that wave down towards this inner turret. Baron swiftly taken, so you don't really have the best of ways to try and clear this. Yes, you've got the Sivir, but apart from that, everyone else not exactly the best at clearing out these minions.
And I feel like LNG will look for a dive angle if they see it. They have bulky frontliners who can tank up the tower. Don't see an opportunity there, but like V5 are just holding on this one. I feel like the actual win con is you wait for Elder Dragon, you hope you get the steal, and you win with that. Like that, it's that desperate right now.
And I think it is a case of, again, can Rookie steal away something like Alazult? Can he get access to backline? Can he try and be the big savior? Because at the moment, it just doesn't really look like there's an opportunity. There's just no damage on V5's side. I mean, even look at the level differences pretty much across the board. Like, everyone on LNG is pretty much 2 levels behind.
And the fact that Doinb can play with such confidence there, it's been present since, I feel like, level 2, level 3, because he has been pressing up on this Renekton, but it's now enabled so much more. The lockdown, the potential for the shot call from Tarzan to just lock one person down, and especially when you're looking at the team fights, the way that this Baron is going down, they can just pick apart the map against V5.
And then rotating up to this tower, so not sure if the...
I don't know if Doinb's in a little bit of trouble here. Trying to get the tower down so he doesn't take that extra damage. The final chapter comes through. The wild growth comes out. Doinb will finally go down to the ricochet. Rich has Gnar. Maybe he gets in. He was hoping somebody was in the bush there, but doesn't find anything as LNG find a way out.
Yeah, a little bit disrespectful there from Doinb stepping up, and Photic now has 4 items. He's got the armor pen, got the IE.
Oh,
Lulu might die too.
The Gnar ulti comes through. This is some of those moments that we were seeing earlier on being taken advantage of by V5.
That's a lot of shutdowns, and also the opportunity now to like look for more of those bounties off of the turret that's coming up here. So that's a lot of gold that swung over in favor of V5. Now look, it is still a 10,000 gold lead, but certainly being able to get like the shutdown on towards Photic, he's now got 2-4 items and still going to be relevant in this fight.
And I think that's the big thing is if Photic can free hit, he is going to start to shred, right? You know, Sivir gets to this point with 4 items where there aren't really tanks against it. She does so much damage. And Doinb, you know, even with the Lulu coming in, even with the Dominus, starting to get shredded through here. Bear in mind, he has a Randuin's as well, right? Yeah. And it just still isn't enough to survive for that long against Photic. So I think it was an overstep from Doinb. I think it was a mistake. And in a normal 5v5, LNG should still be ahead. But if you disrespect this Sivir, you will pay for it.
I will say, yeah, it's a little bit tricky there for him. I will say you're talking about 4 items for Light, or at least Photic, and on the other side, full build for Light.
And well, one of the big things we've been highlighting is how hard it is for V5 to find the flanks that they want to get on towards Light because they haven't been able to get control on the map. It's been LNG with the tempo advantage this whole time, but now you can see it's V5 that have control over River. Now Rookie has an opportunity to try and find these more creative flanks. Karsa can try and get on towards Light, and LNG have to be very careful coming through this River. You can see Ala at least trying to find his way in through the bottom side of River to see if he can find a flank of his own.
I mean, we have Elder Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, and you're saying V5 with a miracle steal, anything along those lines would be a game-changing moment. We've seen team fights won not by non-Zeri, but by down 10K.
Which is why the big thing for LNG is they don't want the Dragon to get started. They just want to take the fight, so they don't let it come down the Elder. They are stronger right now. Oh, but Ollie might have been spotted. If they chase him down and get a kill here, this could be everything.
Is available for Photic if he wants to go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. Rich trying to look over the wall here. Allah is himself in trouble. Pops the slicing Maelstrom. Gets a lot of damage down, but focus down himself. The shutdown
that could be enough.
Going over to Photic as well. Now they have the team fight.
That's huge. I mean, Rich's ultimate was used, but look how quickly that'll come back off cooldown. So as long as they wait for this Mega Gnar to come back up, they're in a great spot. Allah, that ward spotting him may have just changed the outcome of this game.
And we'll see the setup here from V5. It is a mismatched fight for LNG, but they have the lead. They have 10,000 gold almost over their opponent, but can it be enough? The lightning crash from Light, the damage is needed here, but Rookie is buying a lot of time. The bodyguard for V5 trying to make it happen here, and the reset comes out on the fight.
Yeah, but Light's ult is timed out. It's being used, right? Dominus is about to go as well. So much committed by LNG. This could be V5.
Karsa, he goes in, he goes gold in the final chapter as well. We'll see a lot of damage coming in from the ricochets, and now it's a lot of back and forth here. Doinb goes down first. Rookie is carrying the fight. Tarzan about to go down as well. Rookie's going gold in the Kingslayer. But Photic is coming up. Aces.
They can't kill Light.
Come through. It's a one-man fight for LNG. He's making it happen. And Zeri, things do Zeri bad. That is huge for LNG.
Light will send V5 to the darkness as he steps up huge in the fight. Everyone from LNG flashing forward, trying to get onto the LNG AD carry, but he says, no, we will not be denied this game.
It felt like V5 had everything under wraps, and now Photic might be in trouble.
They are burning them down. ppgod easily a couple autos from Allah, and now that GA ain't gonna mean much. Light surviving, and all that's left between game number 1 and LNG are a couple towers and one more Nexus, as they will find the win in game number 1, denying V5's comeback and coming up big.
It feels like V5 did everything right, factored it all in, found the best team fight they could possibly get, and then Light just said no, stepped up to solidify the win, and it must be such a frustrating loss to V5, because yeah, they were super far behind, but we all saw that they nearly had it.
You could see the time turning, the clock going over in favor of V5, but Light for LNG stepping up huge there. And that's the big difference between something like a Sivir and the Zeri.
Yeah.
When you've got that single target DPS in the Zeri, she will always outclass the Sivir. It's about trying to find the AoE damage for Sivir, but you just don't have it there. And Zeri for Light able to come off clutch.
Oh my God, it's so clutch as well, the way that it happened, right? Rookie was trying his darndest, Photic was trying his darndest, but in the end, it's the Zeri things that matter.
Like, I actually think V5 played that fight so well.
Yeah.
The way they were using, like, the stasis, going in and out, doing everything they could to get the Zeri. Like, I thought they nearly had it. The mechanics on display, the decision making was fantastic, but they just got Zeri dissed. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Zeri Yuumi, pretty much. I mean, with the healing that you're getting from the Immortal Shield, but the Zoomies as well, giving Light so much more in that fight. It just felt like you just no way to shut it down.
It's wow. I'm just happy that we actually got a fight back from V5 at the end, and it wasn't the Elder Dragon maybe they wanted, but I think there were some positives when we were looking at what we said at the beginning of this match, where mid to late game, that's V5's territory. Early to mid game, that's LNG's territory. We got a little bit of duality of those two.
I think the thing you got to think about, right, is we had LNG with Soul, we had LNG with a 10k gold lead. Maybe if it's like a 6k gold lead, maybe if they didn't fully have the Soul yet, you know, that you ask these questions, I know it's like big ifs and buts, but a little bit more in V5's favor, and they probably could have taken that final fight, but this was still a dominating win from LNG. As much as that final play looked promising, 97% of the game was LNG.
And I will just give another huge shout out to Light, not only carrying this on the Zeri, but after the beginning, right, we were in a delay because he wasn't feeling good. And to come out and still perform the way that he did, on top of the rest of the team, I think that says leaps and bounds of how LNG are feeling today.
Yeah, and it felt like Light already knew that he was going to get off to a good start. The initial early first blood for them in that bot side, in the 2v2, literally level 1, and then he just runs away with it with nearly 43%.
But also look at